when you click here, all right, you can also customize it, most especially the colors of the candles, all right, and that is where I did my own. I customized my own. So let's look for that colors. We scroll down and then we click here. All right, we click here and you find that you can change your colors to anything you want. All right, and so that's how I change my colors and everything. So just whenever you download your app as a beginner, just check in here, all right, and do and feel free to play around. So now back to the app. So this is the gold market, all right, ZAO USD. This is gold market and US dollar. The gold market is arguably one of the biggest global is arguably the biggest global market. All right, you can think of the biggest global forex market because it involves two powerful values. All right, we have the commodity, the valuable commodity called gold. All right, it has been there for thousands of years, for millenniums. All right, and it holds a really intrinsic value. All right, and then we have the dollar. All right, the currency of one of the most powerful economies in the world, America. So coining these two values together produces a really liquid and wonderful market. All right, so this is the 1 hour time frame. Now when we go to the daily time frame, you can see that gold for some time has been ranging. All right, now there is what we call ranging market conditions. Ranging market conditions are conditions whereby the market is not really moving up or down. All right, and in such cases price is in its accumulation phase. All right, and so it is best to be patient. And the reason why I'm explaining this is that sometimes forex may seem hard, all right, especially to the beginner who just ventured into it. All right, and that's probably because sometimes the market accumulates. So and in such cases, you can lose your funds, trying to trade in the market, because for you to make money in the market has to expand. All right, so in such cases you have to spot such phases of consolidation early, so as you can stay clear of the market, all right, until conditions are favorable. So on the daily time frame, let's touch on let's discuss fair value gaps. All right, fair value gaps, they are number 3 advanced concepts. So going to our MT5. Now what are fair value gap? Fair value gaps consist of 3 candles. All right, 3 candles, and in that 3 candles there will be a space, all right, between the first candle's high, all right, which is this candle, the first candle's high, and the third candle's low, which is this candle. All right, is that understood? Now take this definition again. Fair value gap consists of 3 candles. This is the first candle, the second candle, and third candle, and there is a space between the first candle's high and the third candle's low. All right, so is that space. Now the analogy here is that fair value gaps are building blocks of price action. They are building blocks in the charts. All right, so whenever price trades back into it, that's the analogy here, it usually causes a reaction, because that is where the decision to expand the market in a particular direction is made. Is price going to invert it, or is price going to reject on it and continue in the original direction? So what's the original direction of this fair value gap? Is bullish, is moving upwards. So whenever price trades back into it, there are 2 things that will happen. Either price find support on it. It can happen in any way. It can happen on price immediately tapping into it, or it can happen when price trades into it, consolidates for a while, find support, all right, takes its time, which is what is actually happening now on the daily time frame, and then eventually move in the original direction. All right, in that case we can say that the fair value gap has enabled price to continue in its original trend, or price trades into it, all right, and then inverse it. In other words, we will now be seeking the lows. All right, so that's the job of a fair value gap. That's where the decision is made. All right, and then finally, and then we are going to, don't worry, we will expand on these concepts in our community. All right, so as you understand it more deeper. Now finally we talk about liquidity runs. All right, now let's talk about liquidity runs. Now we go to the chart and we look for practical examples. So what are liquidity runs? Okay, what are liquidity runs? Let's take a look at this example. Now see this particular low, all right, and then before this low was swept, all right, before this low was swept, okay, at the point of this low, I'm going to put a line on it. All right, so I click my center, the same with MT4, the same way I do on MT4. All right, then I click the plus sign to look for my horizontal line. Then when I click my horizontal line and place it here, all right, now to the left, what do we see? We see a full-bodied candle closing below this wick. This is where this bearish candle closed. All right, it closed here. All right, and then it's left, just like I explained the definition of a fair value gap. You can see that it left a fair value gap as it closed here. This shows displacement. All right, and what's displacement? Displacement simply means that price intends to continue in that direction. All right, price intends to continue in that direction. All right, and so the next thing that happened was that price actually inverted this fair value gap. All right, and continued upwards for a while. All right, and yeah, I think in some sense it can show indecision in the market. All right, it all depends. All right, and so another example of liquidity run. All right, maybe we will go back in history to look at it. All right, so a liquidity run shows displacement, and displacement simply means that there is a forceful and an energetic push, because for these markets to move there has to be real liquidity, backing it up. And what's liquidity? That's money, big orders in the market. Right, this is what moves the market. All right, and whenever you trade with displacements, whenever you trade, all right, whenever you are on the right side of the market, which is where the money is flowing, all right, the trading is easy. All right, the trading is stress free, and you can make money easily. All right, so it's necessary you understand these concepts, all right, deeper. And that's where our community is going to do more justice to these concepts. We'll teach these concepts deeper because they are the building blocks of price action. So finally, we are done with these things. Now let's take a look at Bitcoin. All right, it's a cryptocurrency. Just like I told you, the trading forex is not just about currencies. All right, it's about, and it's also not just about commodities like we have seen gold, all right, and silver right here. All right, trading forex also involves cryptocurrencies, shares, and all that. So this is cryptocurrency. This is Bitcoin. All right, on the daily time frame we can see that Bitcoin is a highly bullish market. All right, on the weekly time frame, week one, or we can tap here. All right, we can see that Bitcoin has been rallying. All right, and Ethereum as well has been rallying. All right, we can see that this pairs has been rallying. All right, and on the daily time frame we can see that each time they rally they come into fair value gap, all right, to find support, all right, and then continue higher. So let's be watching. We could see Ethereum flip bullish once more, after trading into this fair value gap, or possibly it could invert it. All right, so how we actually know beforehand which of these will happen is when we stack a lot of conferences, all right, in our favor. All right, in that way we can be better able to gauge, all right, in analyzing the market, which direction the market will take. So that's it. On BTC USD you can see, so BTC has been bearish for some time, all right, and that's simply in a bid to find strong support to make its next move up. So that's it. Now let's move over to, I think this is a comprehensive guide, all right, to forex trading. All right, so let me take you on a walk to our community. All right, so these are our